Welcome back to Xenonauts. Last time we did the Terror mission where things went okay, but we did take 2 losses, perhaps one of them being very avoidable indeed. Then we played around trying to use the aerial combat system. That went okay, and some lessons were learned at least. And we finished up with a nice easy mission where we just took out a couple of the aliens from the beginning of the game. We finished interrogating our first captured alien, and this tells us that the aliens are very servile and like to obey orders, and it even notes that if you order them to kill themselves, they'll do it, but then goes on to note that you probably can't do that on the battlefield for whatever reason. So that's inconvenient, isn't it? Anyway, on to the next UFO contacts. We attack a corvette over China, bringing it down with a nice costly auto-resolve there, and we also attack some fighters over Africa. Since it's just fighters, they have very little strength, and they're not able to achieve anything, but they still damaged our fighters, even though I'm pretty sure that would have been absolutely fine if we did it manually. And we're going to see in this part the transition to me trying to do manual fights when it comes to aerial combat. We'll see that in a minute, in fact. There was a mission available here, but I'm not going to go on it because I was looking over Charlie 2 and I could see that it was just in bad condition. Everyone needed to be healed up. I can't even remember why they're so damaged at the moment. So I ended up going for this airstrike option. It just gives you some money and skips the mission. You miss the opportunity to get a bit more money, maybe twice the amount shown, and the opportunity to get stats for your soldiers, but it also avoids the risk of them dying, so maybe that's okay. We analyse a captured civilian and don't learn anything particularly useful. It just reconfirms what we knew from the autopsy. They have bad/good eyesight situationally, and they can regenerate health. Now moving on once again, with this next batch of UFOs, things were starting to ramp up because the enemy were coming at us with loads of UFOs in the same place at the same time, and we don't have the aircraft to really counter them all right away. We're going to have to attack in waves. That means we don't want to rely on that auto-resolve anymore, because even when you're guaranteed to win, it gives you some damage and it takes like a day to repair the damage on the plane, and we want to send them out as soon as they've refueled and rearmed. So here we go, we hit the first corvette and we're going to use the manual resolve. It's not exactly difficult because our Foxtrots easily outpace the corvettes and even outrange them. The only thing is you have to draw aggro between the 2 planes, and so far I haven't found a way to make the enemy switch aggro. So you can hit the corvette with the one that's not being aggroed onto, and then with the one that is aggroed onto, I'm just trying to stay out of their arc of fire so it survives, and we need to try and fire our torpedoes at the corvette to bring it down, but eventually I decided I can't do it. I thought maybe you can do an alternative strategy, just keep retreating from the engagement and then starting the fight again, because that's going to refresh the AI, and it might aggro onto the one that doesn't have any ammo, meaning the one with ammo will just go behind the enemy and destroy it without risk. And indeed, that is what happens. So there we go, we can take down the corvette without taking any damage. It's just sort of annoying to do. So once they were destroyed, we discovered another UFO in the same area, so they really are spamming things here. We're going to have to pull out the planes from Hammersickle to help out. I started flying them over, although actually we ended up discovering another corvette over China, so I decided to redirect the planes from Hammersickle to go deal with that more close-by threat, since it's more fuel efficient. Then I thought maybe I can cheekily do this mission with the 1 corvette we've downed before we look at the other ones. But I noted that one of the corvettes has landed, and I thought I'd rather send Charlie 1 to attack the landed corvette rather than the crashed one. The issue with this plan is that it's just coming to nightfall, so we'll have to wait all night before we make the strike, and it might just take off again. I didn't know how long they stayed landed for, so I thought, well, let's just gamble and try to find things out the hard way. In the meantime, I can send my Foxtrots out to attack another corvette. We'll do the manual resolve strategy again, and this time it actually went a little bit better because I was able to, with a little bit of micro, get my plane to attack the corvette from just outside of its range, even while the corvette was aggroed onto us. So we defeated it in 1 round. That's no different really to defeating it in 2 rounds, it's just less real life time that it takes to do it, so it's not as annoying. Now unfortunately the enemy landed corvette did take off. We were pretty lucky because it could have attacked Charlie 1 since it flew right past blasters, but it didn't. Clearly it's got something to do. So now I just send out the Foxtrots again, and because I'm doing all these manual resolves, they're not damaged, so we can just keep using them over and over again, meaning that the enemy's spam attack can be dealt with without actually taking any damage and relatively risk-free. It is again just a lot of micro to deal with. So finally, we've got an actual crash site to go and attack, so Charlie 1 will go and do this mission. Outside the chopper, we spot a drone, and more importantly, we spot an Andron coming from our left through another cluttered marketplace that's going to block line of sight all over the place, so while we can actually see it, we can't shoot it. So now I'm going to reposition my squad to be in this general area. We spot another Andron that's actually really close to us and was probably about to come around the corner, so good spot through that window from Xenonauts, I think it was, opening that door. Now I reposition, ready to fight, and that Andron does indeed come around the corner, shoots Betty Buckshot in another questionable line of sight move, but we're not going to complain about that anymore. I think it's just because your party members, when they're in cover, they don't like press up against the cover like in new XCOM, so they can kind of be seen around corners because they're just standing away from the cover. Whatever the case, we're going to fire back at this alien, since we might as well. It doesn't block our line of sight either, this bit of wall. I'm not sure, but I think these Androns might have a invisible armor bar, because it seems the second volley of Buckshot there did way more damage than the first one. So it might be that you can break its armor, and then you do more damage with ballistic weapons after that. I'm going to use Useless here to go and heal up Betty Buckshot. You might notice I've got no shield people in my squad, and that's because I forgot to put one in. Useless was meant to be temporary until I got some more shield people to put in, but I haven't done it yet, so we're doing this without shields. Now I spent a couple of turns just waiting around in this area because I knew there was another Andron in the marketplace somewhere, but I just couldn't see it, and it eventually showed up again, but as it did, Big Iron happened to kill it with his reaction fire, so that was all good, wasn't it? Then the drone shows up again as well, attacking us from the north, but we've got Xenonauts in this window who just takes it down in one hit. Very good work from him. Now, I spent a couple of turns climbing up onto the roof of these buildings we were in and around after discovering that we could do that, just to see what we could see, and indeed we see another enemy over there in that building, barely visible. Luckily the walls are a little bit see-through, so that's helping us out. And the Andron comes outside and allows us to just gun it down with the machine gun from the roof. I'm not sure if being on the roof and having a height advantage actually gives you any advantage. It doesn't say that it does, but this is the sort of game where it wouldn't tell you that sort of information. Anyway, nothing else happened after that until we got to the UFO itself. Ray and Prey opens up the door for us, and there's an alien on the inside. I've set up for some sniping down the corridor, but this isn't very safe. As someone very nicely noted in the comments of a previous part, the alien laser weapons do have the same effective range as our sniper weapons, so having the sniper be far away isn't really a guarantee they're not going to get hit if they're not in some sort of cover. In this case I'm going to actually move him out of line of sight because I was paranoid and we didn't get the kill. But I still thought we could get the kill this turn because I've got Big Iron pretty close to the door, so he can sort of run into the corridor, and we don't have to run that far down it, so we're not going to risk taking fire from the rooms on the left and right. We can go a little bit in, take the shot, bring the Andron down, and now I have enough points to run all the way back out again, so that's a pretty clean move. Now, a couple of turns later, another alien appears as I was preparing to enter the UFO. It hits Betty Buckshot with the exact same trick that got her damaged earlier. She really needs to learn to keep herself tucked into those walls she's trying to hide behind. Luckily, because Betty has really above average health, she's able to tank multiple hits like that, plus the Jackal armor means they're not doing that much damage, of course. I'm going to take a shot with her, but I'm not going to take two shots like I could, even though it might kill the enemy, because I wanted to save movement points for the potentiality of running away if everything goes wrong here. Luckily, Big Iron brings the enemy down, and that was actually the end of the mission. So overall, a pretty clean mission. All of the damage was taken onto Betty, but everyone else seemed to do pretty well. After that mission, we finished researching alien electronics, so now we can build things in the vein of the aliens with hyper-efficient circuitry, and one thing this allows us to do is research a new fighter type, a replacement to the Condor. So that's good to know. I'm not going to do it right now just because I want to finish up the things I'm already working on, especially the Elenium explosives research, because that also upgrades your planes by making their weapons more powerful, and that's certainly going to help us out. Now I'm going to begin hiring a third squad so that we can get Rodeo, our third base, up and running. And while I'm here, I'll mention the thing I alluded to in the previous part, and it's that we have a lot more money than I thought we did, because I had presumed that your monthly upkeep just ticks away every day, and that's why my money is constantly going down all the time as you pass time on the geoscape. However, I think the way it actually works, I haven't looked this up yet because I'm a purist, but I think it's that when you build things, while you're building buildings and equipment, the money is gradually deducted rather than just being paid for up front. But at the end of every month, the upkeep on buildings and the upkeep on personnel is paid as one lump sum that's taken out of your income, not out of your balance. So we actually make a profit of like $1 million a month at the moment. We're actually fine for money, so we're going to be expanding our operations quite a lot, and I really wish I'd known that earlier, because I probably would have built way more like labs and things at the beginning of the game. Anyway, we've now researched that explosive tech, which gives us these new missiles, and nicely, you don't have to build them or anything, it just straight up replaces your old ones for free. That's what we like to see. That's how I prefer it, because it's just easier. Now, 2 more UFO contacts appear, or it's actually 6 in this case, 2 groups. I wanted to go and attack the group that was a corvette and 2 fighters, but a group of 3 fighters attacked my squadron, so I wanted to get through this engagement with minimal damage so that we could go on to still at least try to fire our Foxtrot's torpedoes at the corvette. Things didn't go all that well though. I'm not quite sure why actually in this case. Normally the alien fighters really struggle to bring down the Condors, but we actually lose one to like 2 hits right away. Maybe it shot a special weapon or something. Our second Condor just tanks a whole load of hits and then guns down the fighter, and that's what I expected to happen overall. Our Foxtrot just needs to leave the engagement because it can't really deal with the fighters. And finally, my remaining fighter, again, just flew right into the front of the enemy fighter, tanked its attacks and destroyed it. But overall, that engagement was a disaster, because not only did we lose a Condor, the other one's too damaged to allow us to go on and attack the corvette, because it has a fighter escort. So we're now going to have to leave that group and just not engage it at all. And the same for this other group, it's the same composition that appears to the north, really annoying. After a while, a single corvette on its own did appear, so I could send Foxtrots to engage that safely. I'm trying to bring over additional Condors from Hammersickle, but we're actually too far away, and I think they end up turning back due to lack of fuel. So here we go, another engagement with this corvette, and I'm going to skip that because I actually had to run away, also due to lack of fuel, so we didn't bring it down. I sent out another Foxtrot then on its own to go and attack it, and because I had hit it with 1 or 2 of our new torpedoes, this thing was now damaged, and that's probably why when I auto-resolved it, we just instantly won with no damage. That's what I like to see. So we've destroyed another alien, but it was over the sea, so no actual mission comes of that. Now I spotted a landed alien UFO party to our north, so I decided to send Charlie 1 out to investigate, using some fighters as an escort, just in case the other enemy group came to attack Charlie 1 as it travelled. However, the other one also lands and starts a terror mission, and I think these are supposed to be much higher priority, so we have to do that right now. Effectively, Charlie 1 will change course, and we'll go and try to save Oslo from the aliens slaughtering all of the civilians. At the start of the mission, it pops up telling us that an alien officer is present, and it's doing this because our story objective is to capture an alien officer. And yes, we do have the opportunity to do it here, but I'm going to squander it without really realizing it, because it said something along the lines of, you'll recognize the officer because of his headgear, and there's an alien over there wearing some armor. It's a guy we've seen before, an armored civilian, and I'm pretty sure in retrospect that's the officer. The headgear means his helmet, but I thought that was just a normal enemy. It was just an armored version of this enemy, and didn't really presume that was the officer. I thought I was looking for something a bit more distinct. So we are not going to be capturing an officer in this mission, suffice to say. As you can see, we found an alien right outside the chopper inside this building, but shooting through the window took it down. Then of course we do need to also deal with that alien officer who's standing outside. We can look out a different door of the chopper to see him here with Hillary Highcow. We've got an okay shot here. It's blocked somewhat by a flower bed. The flower bed takes some punishment and is completely wiped out, but we don't get damage onto the alien. That sucks. Then in the alien turn, we see some shooting nearby. The officer starts shooting back at us. Reaction fire is triggered from really long range and it doesn't do anything. Then another shot is fired at Hillary, this time getting a hit. That really sucks. And we see a local soldier firing at something to the up and left maybe of us. So we know there's another alien very nearby, thanks for the tip, but doesn't look like he actually achieved anything. Now we start firing on the alien officer. Hillary Haikal gets only one hit there with her burst, suppressing the enemy at least. Trigger Down has pretty much the same experience, getting 2 hits, but we still can't kill the thing. And in the end, we got Verfenau to shoot with the laser rifle and he got a lucky hit, and there we go, finally bringing it down, thus failing the story mission little did I know so far. I set up facing vaguely to the right because I was expecting aliens to come around the corner. A Reaper appears, we get some reaction fire but nothing comes of that, and the Reaper seems to be going for a civilian, so we're safe from that for now. Another alien appears from behind a door, from behind a window, and Betty Buckshot annihilates it in 1 hit, very nice. And we also spot a Reaper zombie coming down the road towards us, and we actually kill it and the Reaper it creates in 1 burst, so that went pretty well. There's another alien we can see at the end of that alleyway. That will be our next objective then, going to move troops over, ready to engage him. I also decided to move Big Iron up onto the 2nd floor of this building to take a look out a window on the other side, just to see what we could see across the whole map. He somehow detects that there's an alien behind the building on the ground floor. I think he saw through the stairs there. So I went over to this window thinking I might be able to shoot down from the window at him. We're completely above him, just 1 tile away, but the line of sight doesn't work, it's 100% blocked. So I thought, well, we'll just leave Big Iron there to look out the window instead. We killed that Reaper that was going for the civilians earlier, so that was good. Then, the alien that Big Iron saw starts shooting, and we saw some damage markers come up, so it appears it shot Big Iron somehow. Another alien comes around the corner and gets instantly annihilated by Verfenau, and it looks like another alien is setting up to do the same thing, so having our guys watch that corner looks like a good idea. But yes, Big Iron has almost died. He lost pretty much all his health. He's alive, but he's also panicking and bleeding out. Since he's panicking, we can't move him to somewhere where we can heal him up. The only hope is to move someone to him with a med pack, but you need a certain amount of time units to undo bleeding out when using a med pack. Still, we might as well try. We've got Buckshot here, the closest operative, and she's got a med pack, so he can run up the stairs towards Big Iron. However, we end up with pretty much nothing left in terms of time units, so we can't heal him, meaning he's going to be bleeding out. And again, the 100% block shot thing seems to have betrayed us. The aliens do have their uncanny ability to take impossible shots, and it's screwing us over. Really annoying that it's screwing us over with Big Iron in particular, because he's one of our best operatives. At the start of the next turn, he's dead. We simply didn't have time to save him from the bleeding out, and that really, really sucks. All we can do is continue on. I take a look out the window to see if the alien's still there, and it's not, so it's walked off somewhere, probably going to come through the lower floors of the building, so I thought I'll send Betty Buckshot back downstairs. I actually could have asked her to pick up Big Iron's weapon to use the laser shotgun, but I forgot about that. Anyway, we're going to play things safe. We know there's an alien on the 2nd floor of this building at the moment because it was firing at us earlier. Luckily it didn't do any damage. So I'm going to tuck our squad, or the nearby members of the squad that is, into the building so it can't really see us very well. We also have an alien in that alleyway still to deal with. It's suppressed at the moment. I think I suppressed it with a flashbang. Got some damage onto it as well, but no actual kill just yet. It ends up not doing anything during its turn, so I was able to finish it off with some more close-range sniping. It's not the end of that alleyway significance though, because there's still another one on the other side. You can just about see them hiding behind that building. So we're going to leave those guys there watching the alley, while the rest of the team goes to find this other guy we now know is off to our left. He came down the stairs and got shot, so that went okay. Little bit of phasing through the wall from that alien there, and then a through the wall shot as well onto Useless. Luckily didn't do much damage. Then, that was dangerous. Some shots came out from the helicopter and almost killed Useless probably, but just about missed. And it was then that I realised I'd accidentally left Ray and Prey in the door of the helicopter, and because I couldn't see her, because she was blocked by the helicopter itself, I'd been not moving her for the last couple of turns, so that was annoying. Anyway, moving on, we can shoot that alien right in front of us with trigger down since it wasn't in cover or anything, so that was trivial. As for the alien that came down the stairs, we can also get a trivial kill by just shooting through this window here, and that deals with that. but I was aware that there was probably another alien in this area because I think I'd seen something just for a couple of frames moving about, so I'm going to leave that squad waiting by the building in case something happens. When we end the turn, something does happen, but it wasn't what I expected. There's an alien further up the building that appears and shoots useless. There is definitely something over to the left as well because we see it killing a civilian, and there's another one setting up for a run through the alley. Annoyingly, I couldn't kill that alien that was close to us because no one could get line of sight in the specific place it was hiding, so that was bad, meaning it did get another attack in, but fortunately no damage came from it. We got loads of reaction fire on it, which didn't kill it either, but did destroy its cover. Then that alien on the left I've been paranoid about does finally appear, and it shoots Hillary Highcowl, who was the only one I'd left behind watching the door. I think machine gunners don't really do reaction fire for whatever reason. It's a property of their weapon that it can't be fired sometimes. So yeah, she took that shot, luckily survived, but has basically no health. As for the alien in front of us there, since the wall was destroyed by Ray and Prey, I think we can just shoot it again to bring it down. I did spend some time thinking maybe I'll shoot it with someone else, but I thought we're not going to move Ray and Prey this turn, so it's probably tactical to use her, and now we'll use the rest of our time units on the rest of the squad to keep looking around and perhaps come to help out Hillary, although that turns out to be not necessary because she can get revenge from her verge of death at close range. We're going to send Verfenau over to heal her up because this mission still isn't over. We don't know of any more aliens, but the fight's still going. I eventually discover one in the building just above us, or north from us. It's in the corner. I actually couldn't see it. The game stops to say you've seen an alien. I thought, where is it? You can click there to make it show you. So it's sitting right in the corner. That's an annoying place because we can't get to close range, and because we've discovered it where it's so close to us, it can just lean out and shoot squad members. We need to get out of the way. I did my best, but I couldn't do it completely. Triggers down, couldn't move, so she ends up getting shot, luckily surviving, just losing half of her health, thanks probably to the Jackal armor. Now she takes the revenge shot, the alien's down, and finally the mission's over. Now, a Christmas miracle. Big Iron Billy survived. He comes back to life at the end of the mission. He simply can't be stopped, and that is exactly what we needed. So no losses in the end, another city saved, and another rage uninstall avoided, as Big Iron's death is reversed. The squad's in terrible condition, but they're alive to fight another day, which they'll certainly have to.